Hi guys, namaste to you and welcome to a lovely Wednesday morning. This is my warm-up session and I usually try and record a short practice that you can do if you don't fancy a longer practice. But today I woke up with a really stiff neck and it's really sore. So I've got quite a lot of teaching to do today, 3 sessions, and I need to figure out how I can work that out. So I thought I would do this session instead on how to release the neck and shoulders from stiffness. So I hope that is good for you too. So the first thing to do is just try and figure out where your discomfort is. So for me, it's here on the left side, in the muscles behind the shoulder and the neck. So almost certainly trapezius, maybe a little in the scapula. Maybe I've got the name of those wrongs. Don't worry about it. The muscles at the top that do this and the rhomboids are all sort of in there, feeling a little bit tight and sore. So we tend, when we've got pain, to lift our shoulders, which is not helpful. It puts tension into those muscles. So the first thing to think about is to sort of soften the shoulders down, to try and relax your body back into its position of ease and comfort. And then also to avoid keeping the body still, because when we keep the body still, we don't allow ourselves to release any of that tension. So I'm going to begin with some gentle neck movements. So I've chosen a kneeling seat. I'm propped up on a bolster. I'm sitting really tall. I want my arms to be completely relaxed. And if for you that means arms down by the side, that's great. And if for you that means arms, hands resting on your lap, then you can do that too. Just going to gently retract the chin to try and stack the weight of my head over the part of the spine where the neck joins into the thorax, into the top of the back. So I don't want my head to be in front, because if we go like that, if we drop our heads forwards, then we put all of these muscles at the back of the body in the top of the upper back in a strained position, and they're often that way anyway. I know why I've done it, because yesterday I spent a lot of time prepping food on our kitchen table, which is a bit low, so it's sort of stooping, and about 4 hours in the garden. And then I spent the evening knitting a baby blanket. So a lot of in front of the body action, a lot of stooped action, a lot of head down action has meant that I've strained almost certainly the trapezius muscle there. So just trying to retract the chin, or my chin, to get the head over the center of the body, the center of the spine. And then from here, thinking about softening the shoulders down, I'm going to start with some shoulder rolls, just because that feels like a nice way to begin mobilizing those muscles. And at the same time, I'm trying to keep my head in that position, so not trying to let the head move too much with this, but a little bit of movement's fine. I just don't want to drop the head forward too much. And then rolling in the opposite direction. And that feels a little bit uncomfortable, but also quite good, in that way that releasing tension sometimes feels. And then here in the center, I'm going to keep the chin nice and retracted, keep the crown of the head lengthening so the neck is long in every position, the sides, the front, the back. And then gently turn to look over one shoulder. And I can really feel that on this side. So I know that this is the side that I'm going to have to maybe work twice towards. And coming back to the center and turning to the opposite side. That also feels not great, but it's also not so bad. And back to center. So really gentle neck movements, sort of exploring without pushing through any resistance. So we have a tendency to do that. We get to the point where we feel the body resisting us, and we're like, yeah, I can just turn a little bit further. Try not to do that. Try to just meet the resistance and then move away from it, coming back to your neutral spot and turning to the opposite side. Meet the place of resistance where you feel your tension and move back away from it. And go one more time to each side. If we push through that resistance, then we're more likely to cause injury. And if we meet that resistance and move away from it, we're more likely to release the tension rather than create more tension. Coming back to the center, just maybe taking a few shoulder wiggles. I can feel already it's beginning to feel a little bit looser, which is great. Retracting the chin again, and then taking the right ear towards the right shoulder. Goodness gracious, that feels stiffy. And back to the center, and the left ear towards the left shoulder. Really slow, really controlled. Allowing your breath to be long and deep, keeping your face relaxed, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Let's go a couple more times to each side. This is definitely the side that's causing more of the issues. And back to the center. And then to the opposite side. And here, I'm going to press my right hand towards the floor because this side doesn't have that sense of resistance. I'm going to give myself an opportunity for a little bit of an extra stretch here to keep the right side of my neck, and shoulders nice and loose and healthy. Coming back to the center, retracting the chin, just checking every time that I'm moving from a neutral spot. And already that's feeling much better on my left side. Back to the center and over to the left, pressing the right palm to the floor. This time, maybe even resting the left hand lightly on top of the head. I'm not pulling, I'm just applying a touch of the weight of the arm to give a slightly longer, deeper stretch. And then I'm going to come back to the center. Again, in between, wriggling things. So we don't want to keep things too still. We want to keep things nice and moving. So any movements that feel good with your body when you're releasing tension, I can already feel how much better that is. So I'm going to retract my chin, drop my chin towards my chest without bending the upper back forward. And I can feel that that's really, really tight on my left side. So here I'm just going to press my left hand towards the floor a little, press my right hand towards the floor a little. See if I can keep the shoulders down as I keep the chin coming down as well, and also smiling. So we tend to put tension here in the throat and the upper chest, and smiling helps to release the jaw, helps to release the fascial train down the front of the body here, which connects to the base of the tongue. And that can help us to release the tension there. And then just relaxing the arms, bringing the head back to the center. And then I'm going to lift my chin up, but not my head back. So chin up, and then back to center again. Rolling the shoulders. Oh, it's getting good, it's getting good. So now I'm going to take my fingertips onto my shoulders and do some really big shoulder rolls. And we do this with the hands on the shoulders because the lever of the arms is shorter, and it means the weight on the shoulder, the point of movement, or the fulcrum is reduced. So if I do this with long, straight arms, then at this point, the weight of my arm is much heavier than it is if I do this. You can practice both ways and see if you can notice the difference. And with these shoulder rolls, I'm just going to let my head be a little freer. So that I'm not resisting the movements that my body naturally wants to do. And we go the opposite way. Oh, that feels so good. And shoulder rolls, so I hold a lot of tension across the neck and shoulders. A lot of it's from doing tons of down dogs and planks and handstands and headstands and things like this, which mean that my muscles there are really well developed, but also maybe a touch short. So I find that shoulder rolls are a great way to begin to mobilize those muscles and lose some of that tension. And then just going to do a few stretches here. So interlacing my fingers, or you can hold elbow to elbow if you like. Reach the backs of the palms away from you and just feel that rounding come into the upper back. So whilst we do put the muscles at the back of the body in perpetual strain by lengthening, by holding the chin down, tech neck, or whatever you want to call it, sometimes we need to purposefully, intentionally stretch those structures as well. So I'm going to scoop the belly in a little bit, round through the whole spine actually as I kneel here, and draw the chin a little bit towards the chest. Just take a few deep breaths and try and move the breath into the top of the upper back. And feel that the breath is able to open those spaces a little bit more. Or create space even. And after a few deep breaths, I'm going to turn my palms the opposite way, sit taller, lift the arms up over the head, and here reaching the sides of the body up and then drawing the shoulder blades down. Here I'm just going to do gentle side stretching to each side. I've got this planned for the next yoga class, so it's useful to help to open the sides of the body and release tension, warm up for that practice. It also helps my shoulders to move through their full range of movement. I haven't got my arms locked straight here. I could, but not gonna. And then coming back to the center, I'm just going to separate the fingers, let the arms drop down to the side, and then draw the hands behind the body. So already I can feel the openness in the back of the body. I'm going to see if I can open the front of the body a little bit. So I've got my hands resting against my back. My elbows are bent, and I'm going to draw the shoulders behind the body as much as I can. Sorry, itchy nose. As much as I can without strain. So I'm not doing as much as it's possible to do, but just as much as feels like a good opening for me today. Elbows are still bent, and elbows moving towards each other rather than splaying out to the sides. And if I keep the elbows bent, this is much more of a stretch in the pectoral muscles. And if I lengthen the elbows, then it's much more of a stretch in the sort of rotator cuff area. For me, it might be different for you. It also provides more of a stretch in my biceps. So either one of these is good, but try not to hang into the wrists unless it's something that feels good to you. So I'm going to move the hands all the way to the left side of my body. And instead of allowing my left elbow to stick out, I'm going to tuck it all the way in. And then here, with this sort of open stretch, I'm going to explore how the neck feels by moving it in gently, but in lots of different directions. And that feels really nice on this side. Feels like a glorious opening across the front of the right shoulder, right side of the chest, right side of the neck. But this is not the side that has any problems. And it's nice to know that it is without tension, or without more tension than normal. And so I can come back to the center, release that side, just maybe soften the elbows a moment, soften that stretch, just roll the shoulders a little bit, keep the hands where they are. I might like to interlace my fingers the opposite way because for balance that's useful. And then rolling the shoulder blades together again, drawing the elbows towards each other, and then sliding the back of the left hand around to the right hip, not letting that right elbow tuck out, hang out like a wing, but tucking it in. And then here, this actually feels really good. I don't feel any strain at all. And that tells me that my tension is in the muscles at the back of the body, not the front of the body. But it's good to know that. And then I can do some lovely, sorry for the sound effects, lovely neck stretches, neck rolls. And it's important when you're working with your neck and shoulders to do things that feel good to you. So this feels really good. I'm going to hold here because I know that I'm trying to release that tension. But if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. Even if your yoga teacher tells you, if it feels bad or awkward or painful, don't do it. Use your intuition. Move your body in the way that your body wants to be moved. Even if that's unconventional. Even if it's not written in any yoga text, yoga book, it's okay. It's called listening to your body, and it's exactly what we're here to develop the awareness to do. So that feels fantastic. I'm going to release on this side and let my hands and arms relax. Maybe do a few more gentle, so good, shoulder rolls. And so I feel like I've fixed my tension. That's quite good. I hope that was useful for you too. You can also just gently massage the area of tension. And actually, when I say gently, you can start gently, but you probably want to do quite a strong massage. The other thing I like to do is to find the knot. So I can feel the knot in my back. I'm going to press it as firmly as I can, a bit like acupressure, and then move myself away from it. That's the one. So it might be that you move yourself away from it downwards, or to turn to the side, or to turn the ear to the shoulder. It might be that you move towards it. Maybe that's better, but in this case not. But this is it. This is the movement for me. I can feel that knot come to the fore. If I keep the pressure on it, maybe even massage it ever so slightly, I can feel it releasing its sensation. So it's not as tense as it once was. Then I can come back to the center, give a more gentle massage to the area. And sometimes the knot moves, or you've got multiple knots. I once made someone scream when they were giving me a neck massage because my muscles were so firm. Poor lady. Anyway, it's all good. Sorry, that's an aside. Too much information. And the other thing that you can do is you can see I've got the squashy ball here, the red spiky balls, and a tennis ball. So a little bit of foam rollering or fascial release is really useful when you've got this kind of discomfort. So I'm just going to pop to the wall over here and hope that you can still see me. I might kneel down to do it. There we are. So I can take the tennis ball, or I prefer the red spiky balls, that's my thing, and use the weight of my body against the wall. I'll start with the tennis ball to begin with, to roll, to massage that place behind the shoulder. And that feels really good to just ease through that tension I'm holding there. The red spiky ball I find a little bit more useful to get into those knots, but it makes quite a noise. Maybe you're picking that up, maybe not. And you can roll with the red spiky ball. You don't want to roll over your hard bony structures. You want to keep it in the musculature, in the soft parts of the body. But with the tennis ball, you can roll over the hard bony structures if you want to. And I would do this back facing the wall as well.
which is quite nice. And I usually do it standing up because I can keep my feet away from the wall and give a really good press. That feels good. And then you can finish with a softer ball behind the back of the neck and the shoulders, and it's like floating against the wall, and this cools the area. So the tennis ball and the red spiky ball are going to warm up those muscular structures. They're going to bring blood flow to the area, and which is great if you're healing. So you need a little blood flow to heal, but this soft spongy ball, it provides a much lighter touch. So the fascial release is much more superficial rather than deeper into the deeper layers of the musculature. And it also cools, and it's soft and smooth. And you can use these balls also with your full body weight against the floor if you need to. But today, I think that's as much as I need to do. So I would like to say namaste to you all. I hope that if you have any neck or shoulder pain, that you found some of these exercises useful. And I'll see you again for another warm-up practice next Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye. Have a good week.